Okay, welcome back to part 8 of What If Naruto has Zanpakuto, the Hyōrinmaru edition. We're down to our last 2 parts, I can guarantee it. The war arc is probably going to take up all of the last part. Here we're dealing with pain and the Kage Summit. Now, I had already kind of answered this in depth a little bit last one, but let's spend just a minute or two talking about something that got brought up. And I'll just talk about what got brought up. Is that would it be fair to call it a complaint, constructive criticism, a quibble? I think it was kind of all the above, to be honest. Well, sorry, one second. I had to pull up the video to see the comment that was made. So, let's see. What was the comment again? Okay, so a viewer basically said Obito was having to watch the entire fight so he could snag Sasuke when it was over. And so if Naruto was the only person that left to defend Sasuke, this actually lead to a bad ending where Obito snatches Naruto. Itachi would still place Amaterasu inside Sasuke and still set to activate. Then there was some debating back and forth on about Naruto would be like you trap forever. And someone said they hate that I overlook that for a good ending. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. They also talked about Koto Akatsuki, which still would be a thing in this, by the way. I haven't forgotten it. Zetsu, then it's basically Obito. You mentioned that Obito can travel instantly, more or less. Same with Zetsu's Mayfly technique. And that Naruto would be completely defenseless. Okay. So, and I explained a bit, but I'm going to explain it again. Yes, Kamui is more or less instantaneous, more or less. There's probably a little bit of lag between where you're going and where you're showing up, but still, it is more or less. Mayfly technique, I've never known that one. I know it's for fast travel, absolutely, and I know you merge with the Earth, but in terms of being instant, it's not like straight teleportation. There is, again, a little bit of time. It's quick, but it's not that fast. But that being said, the two things that did not get brought up, that I maybe didn't elaborate, or at least the one thing I didn't elaborate, is the fact that Naruto left the group in this version long before the Itachi-Sasuke fight was done. And Orochimaru showed up almost immediately after the fight was done, which means Zetsu would still probably be watching the fight, first and foremost. But then second, Naruto showing up means that there is no real time for them to be like, oh, well, Naruto to go is like, let's get Sasuke. Oh, Naruto's here. But then there's that other comment that actually was really starting to, that kind of, I feel like it's painting a narrative that doesn't exist. The Naruto being defenseless 9, if this were the canon Naruto, I would be more inclined to agree, because he doesn't have anything that can really do anything to Obito. But this Naruto with Hyōrinmaru actually has abilities that, well, wouldn't necessarily counter Obito. I made a point saying that unless he had a complete complete Hyōrinmaru and flash froze Obito instantaneously, which Obito would not know to block that, then Naruto doesn't necessarily have a move that can immediately kill Obito, but he's got enough technique and power and abilities to make it that Obito can't just immediately take him. But beyond that, I feel like all comments were forgetting that the Nine Tails has to be sealed last. Yeah, they did try to kind of get Naruto in part 1, but I feel like this is before the Akatsuki were fully fleshed out. Granted, I don't have proof on that, but we kind of can go off that because the Rinnegan's eyes changed. There's even a shot of what the eyes originally looked like. It was like a black ring that looked like something else. And that was before we also really established Jinchuriki, Tail Beast, all that, and how the Gettoma statue worked. So even if he could take Naruto, he wouldn't. And I brought up the point that in the Kage Summit arc, where Obito goes to visit Naruto, he could have captured Naruto right then. Naruto was sleeping. We have no idea how long Obito was there for. He probably was looking at Naruto sleep for a little while before Naruto actually woke up. He could have taken Naruto right then and there, and he didn't. He just wanted to talk because he didn't have the 8 tails yet. So the logic that Naruto is defenseless, A, doesn't really work in any version where Naruto is stronger and more confident. And B, doesn't work because he wouldn't try to take Naruto without having the 8 tails first. It is flat out stated, the 9 tails has to be sealed last. Otherwise, it would just blow the statue up. Or at the very minimum, it would cause an imbalance of chakra or whatever and release the tail beast or something along those lines. So there's that. And I'm gonna leave it at that. You know what? I'm just gonna leave it at that. So let's get on to where we are right now. So Orochimaru did have to back off because Naruto had far more ice abilities this time around than he did when he fought in the previous time. And Orochimaru was prepared for Naruto here, except he wasn't prepared for Bankai. So again, he put a little bit of underestimation of Naruto, plus shadow clones and all that. So Naruto and the gang come back. They learn of the death of Jiraiya, and obviously this kind of rocks Naruto to his emotional core. Naruto, I don't even think Sasuke can really bring Naruto out of this. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where, he's in that funk where even if we're like dating Hinata or something like that, I don't think it would really help very much. But more to the point, he's got to get out of his funk because he's got to go train with the Toads. Now, are the Toads adamant about training with him? Yeah, I think they still are adamant about training with him. They are like, you're the only one who can figure out Jiraiya's message. And you need to get stronger to deal with pain. Now, could Naruto beat pain outright right now, going Bankai, everything he's got right now? It's a good question. Just as before, the Devil Path really would be the issue, because honestly, he could probably, even like the Preta Path really isn't matched up well against Naruto. Because he can literally just shove a spike of ice through it and kill the damn thing. Even if there is chakra imbued, still not stopping the ice itself. Then Naruto's armed with a sword. Plus he's got the summoning jutsu. Naruto and the Azura path wouldn't really be a big issue. Naruto could handle the 5 paths of pain, no issue. It'd be the 6. That would be the Devil path that would be a problem. So he does start training with Sage Mode. And luckily, because of meditation he's done with Hyōrinmaru, he is able to get actually Sage Mode down probably a little faster. He knows how to meditate, not as well as he originally did, but he knows how to meditate, and therefore training goes easier. He learns to throw the Rasen Shuriken. He also learns his new Ice type jutsu, or Ice type Rasengan, which would essentially be the Rasen Gale, not Gale. Thick words here. Hailstorm Rasengan. That's a good name. Which would be essentially his equivalent, ice equivalent of the wind style. He does know a little bit of water, but water's not something he's training in right now. So eventually the attack on the village will happen. Now, in that span of time, what about Sasuke? Because it was asked, did they retrieve his body? And unfortunately, no. I actually think Orochimaru probably would have made off with Itachi's body upon his, getting away. Now, unfortunately, he can't do anything with those eyes. He can't implant those eyes in him. We know he can't because he had access to Chia eyes to make Shin Uchiha, which is a canon character. Granted, I can't remember if Shin Uchiha was created by Danzo, or Orochimaru and Danzo, or just Orochimaru. I want to say it was an experiment because of Orochimaru alone. But he had to get those eyes somewhere, right? So we know Orochimaru can in fact duplicate Rasengan. I mean, he had a lot of Rasengans and a lot of duplicates, so we assume we can duplicate him. But he wanted the natural Rasengan of just an Uchiha. He wanted that to be his, because if he wanted, he could have just taken Kakashi's eye if he really wanted to. But unfortunately, it's not a natural part of his biology. That's really what he was wanting. He wanted a natural part of his biology, so he wouldn't be suffering from a chakra drain. He wouldn't be suffering from any of the ill symptoms. So even though he does have even though he does have Itachi's body, he can't use, say, the Sharingan, or at least he can't. Oh god, sorry, I'm feeling a little odd at the moment. Not odd, like, oh god, he's sick, oh god, but I'm just kind of tired. I guess is the best way to put it. I'm tired. So he can't just retroactively give himself a Sharingan, but what he could do, hypothetically, is through studying his body, the knowledge of jutsu, all that, he could, in theory, figure out a way to replicate in a different way or create jutsu that mirror things like the Susanoo or the Amaterasu or the Tsukuyomi. Because that's the issue with any ninja gaining a enemy ninja's body, is studying the body for its knowledge, for what it contains. Jutsus, Kekkei Genkai, anything like that. So Orochimaru probably on the back foot maybe swallowed up his body with a snake and spit it out. And now Kabuto is essentially running rampant on it with him. I apologize. So Sasuke, after, having a date with Sakura, all that, enjoying himself, realizes that he never was able to collect his brother's body, and now it's in the hands possibly of Orochimaru, and he's like, damn it. It's like, and so he's just like, he's pissed off, like, damn it. It's like, what's wrong? It's like, we never got my brother's body back. I see. And I didn't see it when we left. That means he took it. It's like, Orochimaru has Itachi's body. This isn't a good thing. No, it's not. And obviously Sasuke's Mangekyo flashes. I swear I'm going to get that so I can get my brother's body back. And they see the Mangekyo, like, all right, we see you. But in the meantime, the attack on the village happens. Now, Sasuke probably does join in with Kakashi to fight the Deva Path. That's a given. And the Azura Path probably gets completely wrecked. But they are pretty much duking it out with the Six Paths of Pain. When tag teaming together with Sasuke means the Deva Path's actually got a problem on its hands. Because with that 5-second interval, with as fast as Kakashi and Sasuke can move, if Sasuke, for example, is able to get Kirin off, there's nothing Pain can freaking do about that. And sure enough, as the fight goes on, Sasuke, he's waiting. He's his Amaterasu, but Deva Path pushes off with Shinra Tensei. He tries Tsukuyomi, but we know Genjutsu won't work on the corpses. And I think the Rinnegan gives you not immunity, but a good resistance to Genjutsu. I don't believe it's ever stated that, but I think that is implied at least. Maybe it is stated somewhere. I haven't seen that. Oh god, I don't know why I'm suddenly yawning like crazy. But Sasuke and Kakashi eventually are able to attack him. Sasuke fires up the attacks in the sky. They wait for the Shinra Tensei. Kakashi gets blasted. He's now down for the count, but that's when Sasuke brings down the Kirin and the Kirin ready and waiting. So upon the next Shinra Tensei, he brings it down and just kind of eviscerates the Deva Path. See, the Kirin would actually be a really good counterattack type move for the Deva Path, given the 5-second interval between attacks. The only problem is the amount of time it takes for Sasuke to prep the technique. That's why it wouldn't be practical is not the right word. Well, maybe it is. It wouldn't be the most practical move to use, unless he's able to strategize and plan ahead for that. Still, I think together they are actually able to roast all the paths of pain. Oh god, I'm so sorry. I have no idea why I've just started yawning like crazy like this. Anyway, so by the time Naruto gets there, granted, Naruto might not even be called. Naruto probably would be called. He shows up and he's on Gunblade saying, "I'm here." It's like, what? So yeah, we took care of it. Well, wait, what the hell are you talking about? And they're like, chatting about how Sasuke's awesome. Like, oh man, I didn't even get a chance to try it, show you off any of the cool stuff I learned. And it's at this point that Naruto is using the Naraka path to start healing up the paths of pain. And Naruto, being a sage, is able to sense that the chakra is starting to replenish. It's like something's off. It's like, what do you mean something's off? I mean something's not right. And he rushes in, and he ends up finding the Naraka path, what I would say the Prita and the human path available at this moment. Because I think with enough time, all the paths of pain probably got taken down except for the Naraka path. Excuse me. So, it's like, so you're here, Naruto. The Nine Tails is finally here. Hello, Naruto. Unfortunately, we don't have time to deal with you at this point. You're not going anywhere. And Naruto, frankly, quickly dispatches the Prita path, the human path, and the Naraka path. He doesn't even have to release Hyōrinmaru for it. He finds the chakra rod, sticks it in, finds where Nagato is, and says, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna find the main body and deal with it. And he goes and he flies off. Ultimately, he ends up finding Nagato, who initially tries to take him over. He's in Sage mode still, so and with the little Nine Tails chakra pumping through him as well, angry probably. Or Hyōrinmaru, the more dragon looking. Actually, that makes more sense. Ooh, dragon frog. That's fun. I mean, there's frog dragons that exist in the media. So he squares up with him. And actually, the yellow, that would be kind of fun because the yellow and the blue would make a bit of a green color. It's not easy being Naruto. But he squares off and they have their conversation. Now, the conversation probably does go about the same. Mind you, he's getting a lot of the bits he got in fighting the Devapath right here and now, fighting Nagato, and they are squaring off, philosophically, ideologically. So it does go on for longer. I would say that. And Nagato is probably a little bit more, not adamant, but a little bit more stubborn on being pushed back, on the pushback on trying to have a different way. Ultimately, though, Naruto does bring out the tale of the gutsy ninja, and he talks about what him and his master ultimately wanted, and what Jiraiya wanted, and what Nagato ultimately wanted. Nagato obviously feels a bit lament on this, and he basically disbands. He abandons the Akatsuki with Konan. Now, does he use the Rinri birth here? That's a big question, isn't it? And it's debatable because you don't have the huge mass of life here you did in the original because of the mass Shinran Tensei. Definitely do have loss of life. And so maybe, as Reverend Pence, he does use the Rinri birth because he feels he needs to make amends on some level. And so he does. And unfortunately, using the Rinri birth is usually not a move that you could survive using. As far as I know. But we do know Obito survived it when forced to use it. But he also had Hashirama 6 paths chakra in there. Well, not Hashirama, but you know what I mean. He had 6 paths for him going. So he was, at that point, a little above human. So that's probably why he was able to survive. Nagato's already in a very frail state as it is. So I don't think using the Rinri birth even once would be a good idea in terms of staying alive. But I think he still does it. He offered, he says his goodbye. Now, I don't think this is a scenario where they offer his Rinnegan to Naruto. If they really felt that Naruto could have made better use of it, they would have done it. Kishimoto. I was about to say Kubo, Kishimoto, Toriyama. I always have to remember who I'm talking about. They probably would have offered it to Naruto in the original. So here is not a spot where Naruto gets the Rinnegan, sadly. What does happen, though, is what's been happening after the fact. Now, Obito talks with Zetsu and Kisame and Dedera, who, if I remember correctly, I have not killed in this version. So there is still a minor contingency of the Akatsuki going around. And he's Zetsu even asks, you could have tried to capture the Nine Tails. Why didn't you? Capturing the Nine Tails would not have been advantageous for us at the time. We still need the Eight Tails. If the Nine Tails is sealed before the Eight Tails, the Geto statue will crumble and fall. And even if I kept him trapped, it would leave me open to a counterattack anytime I tried to access them in the Kamui realm, which is true. Like, he couldn't leave Naruto in the Kamui dimension because he'd risk him starving to death. So he'd have to figure out until they captured B, they would have to keep him alive, which means sending food in there, whatnot. And then they would have to try to capture him. But Obito trying to bring him out of the Kamui realm would be risky because that would allow Naruto to mount some sort of counterattack the minute it happened. And Naruto would be smart enough to try to do something like that. He's also very well that Naruto knows how to use the Shadow Clone. So he would always run the risk of capturing a Shadow Clone, just like the Shadow Clone that got sucked into the Kamui dimension when they fought in the war, and it was used to basically counteract his Kamui and actually get a hit in on him. So, no, he's like, no, it wasn't the time yet. We still need the Eight Tails. Kisame, Dedera, I will leave this up to you. You're pairing us up together? Oh, you're pairing us up together? You're all I have. I normally send Kisame out. on his own. But this is the Eight Tails. We don't have any room for error. So go now. And so he sends him off. So that's what they've been doing. Plus, the Eight Tails B is still more or less in the land of lightning. He's not abandoned his post. Hiding out. He didn't fake his own capture here. And so that is a risky spot to be taking it from, especially because if the Raikage gets involved, that's not going to go very well. And sure enough, the fight eventually would go down. Datara would be throwing his bombs up. B would just be neutralizing a lot of his attacks with electricity. Kasami would try to be absorbing chakra, but again, with electricity and sword styles, B is able to keep up with him. Ultimately, B would be pushed back just as he was in the original by Kasame, just because of the monster Kasame is. However, you would eventually probably get A, Team Samui there, probably Darui, and eventually A on the scene, which would not be good. And Kasame would lose Samahade, so that's another one, because he was consuming B's chakra, like it, and so, no, mine. And Datara probably would just say, you know what, fuck it, I'm in trouble, I'm going out with a bang. Now, unfortunately, because of how fast A is, when he sees Datara try to, consume the clay, he probably just punches him straight through the mouth chest piece, neutralizes his own clay, and just, oh, come on, is it an explosion? Just take his heart out. Yeah, A would not fuck around. And Kasame would probably also lose his head. Now, is this still a Zetsu, though? With him, because they were in a forest and then giant mass of water got formed, it was a lot easier to replace him with a Zetsu in that circumstance and hide in Samahara. There isn't in that location a lot there's still a lot of underwater stuff, and if anything, it's actually a better location for Kasame to fight B at because there's already a lot of existing water. But could Kasame say hide in the water? Yes, but then the switching of the Zetsu clone would be difficult because there's not a lot of earth to hide in. The Zetsu would have to come out from at the bottom of that little, was it a lake or a big pond or something? I think, let's call it a lake. From the bottom of that lake and then swap places. It's doable, but it's tricky. But granted, again, that's what ninjas do, right? That being said, a substitution jutsu is not out of the realm of possibility either, to be honest. He comes in, transforms into Kasame, he does a substitution, then hides in Samahade, and there you go. So, I could see that happening. Now, would A call a summoning of the Kage Summit? Because B isn't captured here. I didn't think about that up until this point, because without B, and this happens every once in a while, without B being captured, I usually have the summit happen, because I think it is important that it happens, but there are scenarios where it probably wouldn't happen. I would say that he still would probably call the meeting, because the Akatsuki attacked his village twice, killed one of his ninja, and took their Jinchuriki, and now did it again, he took his brother. So, given the kind of guy A is, he takes things very seriously, and he's kind of paranoid, I would say yes, it probably would still happen. Now, because Tsunade is still all and well, she didn't have to use up too much of her chakra, she would be the one to go. Danzo isn't allowed to become the Hokage here. And furthermore, when they're having the meeting with the Danzo or the Daimyo, and maybe Danzo tries to throw his hat into the ring, I think that someone steps up and says, is that right? Is this coming from the man who had my entire family killed? And everyone just kind of pauses, and Danzo turns, and there's Sasuke. Beaten in a little play and bandaged up, but he's there, and he's not happy, and Danzo's just glaring at him. Danzo, is this true? Because the Daimyo are all there too, and the Hokage is just like, well, the cat's out of bag on that one. Now, it's a question if Tsunade actually knew that or not, or Jiraiya or any of the actual signing. But my guess is, based on the knowledge some of the knowledge you get passed on from the previous Hokage, that there might have been an idea behind it, but there was a lot that Sarutobi kind of took to the grave with him. I would say probably she didn't know everything, but she maybe knew a little bit more than what was said. Like she didn't know Itachi was like she didn't know the truth about Itachi. I would say that because we know Jiraiya didn't, as far as we know the truth about Itachi. But anyway, she's looking at Danzo too. So it's like Danzo. That's like, and now Danzo's like, you. How would you? Orochimaru told me when I saw him last. So you saw Orochimaru. Yeah, he tried to take me, but Naruto was able to try to come after the Sharingan again. But Naruto was able to keep him at bay until he decided to retreat. He has my brother's body now, a body that wouldn't be there if you didn't place your. And finally, Danzo just knows cat's out of the bag. He's like, your family was going to plan a coup that would have destroyed the whole village. We did what we had to protect what was ours, boy. Your family are nothing more than red-eyed monsters, the jutsu stealers who wanted nothing but power. And, Sasuke's glaring at him. His Sharingan's glaring. It's like, Danzo, this is something serious. I don't need to explain myself to you. I did what I had to, just as I always have. That's what the village has needed. That's what it's always needed. That's what I am the right candidate to be Hokage, not her. So even though Danzo is calculating, he's also a guy who is jelly. He's a jelly guy, and so I think being called out, like all that, I think he maybe just kind of snaps a little bit because we did see him. That's how we got the position temporarily. It's like the third Hokage's ways are exactly why we're in this position. That's how we got it. He screamed and he made a point. Good or otherwise, probably not good point. And so they gave him the appointment. Here he's like, it's like, Danzo, you're going to be taken into custody until further notice. And Danzo's just like, and he basically just decides, does the substitution. Yeah, I'm not doing this. So Danzo now has to go on the run because it's like, look for him. We're not letting him get away. Danzo, curse you. And so what we would actually catch up with, as we're running low on time and battery here, but what we'll basically end off if we're going into the war, is eventually when we get into the Kage Summit, Obito would again crash the Kage Summit, basically declaring war. He would go eventually get the Rinnegan, so that still happens. But more to the point is that eventually what happens is, and while you might be thinking, like, I hate why you don't do this. Look, I'm allowed to fanfic when I want to fanfic. I try to keep to the base story of the series and the changes that would happen, I think. But I'm also allowed to do what I want. That was another comment that came up that I was trying not to really respond to, but this is me responding to now. You don't get to have it. You can only have it one. You don't get to have it one way or the other. You don't get to complain that I'm not strict enough or that I'm too loose with the rules. You don't get to do one or the other. You either say because that's not what I am. I'm not 100% stuck on the rules of the story in the world. What I am is someone who is ultimately trying to go by changes that I think happen based on the one change. And then I can throw stuff in there that if I feel works for the story, I can, so long as it's not completely out there. Like, for example, Naruto's not just suddenly awaken the Rinnegan, six-pass chakra, turn into 10-tilted jerky for any reason. But if I felt there was a legit reason he could do it in this story, I might do it. He's not, by the way. But if I felt he could do it, I'd do it. So, to the guy, people like complaining about one thing or another. It's not one or the other. And you don't get to complain about me not being fanficky enough and then complain that I'm too fanficky. Like, that's not how that works. And I know I'm going to get someone who pushes back on me against that too. Like, whatever, it's fine. I do the stories the way I do the stories. If you don't like the way I do the story, and I don't mean to sound mean by this, you don't have to watch me. That's the honest truth. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, it ends with the three remaining forces coming together. Obito is there, and he's, starting war. He's got some of his white setsus. Orochimaru shows up. Now, people always say, Orochimaru wouldn't, join it. He will join if it's advantageous to him. If there's something he can benefit out of that, which there would be here, he wants Sasuke, and he wants to see the leaf burn, so it's a two birds, one stone scenario. If he knows teaming up with the Akatsuki / Obito would be advantageous to him, he would do it. He's already been part of the Akatsuki before, and he knows the Edo Tensei. He can offer that to him, so he has services they can offer, and all he wants is Sasuke, that'd be a deal that he's willing to make. And Danzo shows up as well, who has worked with Orochimaru before, has even hired the Akatsuki before, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe. I don't actually know about that history. Maybe he has. But anyway, he fully is aware of, he's fully aware that now he's a missing nin. It's like, I will. It's like, and more to the point, he just looks at Orochimaru. It's like, I believe there's an agreement we can make. But when they eventually all meet up, so it's the axis of powers here, basically. Well, not quite. It's a triaxis. What would be a triaxis? Anyway, 3-point axis. Anyway, the 3 powers of evil, more or less, in the world right now. So that is where we're going to leave it. The war is going to be unique. That's for certain. And we'll kind of make it a long episode next time, maybe 40 minutes or so. Till then, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.